Have you ever reached for a paint colour only to find it doesn't cover the way you'd hoped? Or perhaps you found yourself getting through a ton of a certain paint colour and not really understanding why. Hi, I'm Jo Barnard, mixed media artist and founder of the Art Insiders membership, where I share techniques, projects and inspiration every month. And today I'd like to help take the mystery out of paint opacity so you can choose your colours with confidence before you buy them. First, let's get clear on what opacity and transparency mean in our paintings. An opaque paint will give full coverage, meaning that you won't see what's underneath it unless you dilute its consistency. A transparent paint will give a wash of colour, but you'll still be able to see clearly what's beneath it. A semi-transparent or semi-opaque paint will give partial coverage. You can also call this translucent. So when we're choosing our acrylic paints, it's easy to focus purely on the colour of the paint and to purchase gorgeous colours that we want to use. But it's also really useful to know whether these lovely colours will give us the effects that we want. And most decent brands of paint will indicate the opacity on their labels. Let me show you. Okay, let's have a look at a range of different paints and the way that we can tell whether they are opaque, semi-opaque or transparent. Let's start with this brand Sennelier. They're abstract acrylic paints. Now this is the most common method to show opacity, and that's with this black square. Now we'll see here that it's black blocked in, which means it's opaque, whereas this ultramarine blue, we'll see here that it's a clear square, which means that it's transparent. Okay, so we have to really look to tell. Let's look at this brand Pebeo. Now I love this brand actually. It's really affordable. It's great quality for the price, and you'll see that rather than the squares, they actually print opaque, transparent on the front of their tube, so you can see on the shelves at the outset what you're buying. So that's helpful. What about Winsor and Newton? Now these two beautiful colours, you might see them on the shelves and think, oh, love both of those. But let's have a look. One is opaque and one is transparent. Now you see this diagonal line that goes through. If half of it is complete, that means that it's semi-opaque, semi-transparent. Okay, so Winsor and Newton Galeria acrylics use that square method. Okay, as do Liquitex. Now, let me show you. You might see these on the shelves and think, right, white, I need a white paint, but you'll see titanium white is usually, if not always, opaque. So titanium white is an opaque white. Zinc white is often better for mixing, or we have here this transparent mixing white, and you'll see that it's a clear square. So in both this fluid paint and a more heavy bodied acrylic, this option, which is a transparent white to mix colours with, that isn't going to be opaque. Okay, so that's really handy to know. Liquitex again here, a couple of fluid acrylics. You'll see Payne's Grey is opaque, ultramarine blue, semi-opaque, semi-transparent. Okay, you can see that half and half. Jackson's paint. You may be familiar with the Jackson's brand. Jackson's Art are a fantastic company to buy art materials from. They print this black rectangle on their labels and paint the paint over the top of it. So we can see here this lemon yellow, they use a dot, a circle, as opposed to a square. So this lemon yellow is transparent. You're not going to get good thick colour payoff from a transparent paint. So you'll probably end up using loads of that if you want colour payoff. You'll see here from their Mars Black that that is totally opaque. All right, and Golden do something similar. So Golden print on the label these stripes, and then they paint the paint over the top, so you see what you're getting. You can see they also put the square here. You can see that it is a transparent paint. I mean, this is an absolutely beautiful paint. The same applies to acrylic inks. So I've got a couple of Liquitex ones here to show you. Both of these are transparent. Muted grey, transparent. Raw sienna, transparent. So you're going to get a beautiful transparent wash with those, but it's not going to be good coverage if you want coverage. Daler Rowney, their inks are also wonderful. We've got here yellow ochre, which is semi-transparent, so it is going to give a bit of opacity. What's this one? This is processed magenta, which is clear, so that is transparent also. Yep, that's transparent. And olive green here, which is semi-transparent. Okay, so there are also a couple of ways to make your opaque acrylic paints more translucent or transparent. And I'd like to show you some examples. So one is by adding water. Now let's just take some of this deep turquoise. So this is an opaque paint. All right, so if I paint this on, it's going to give pretty good coverage. Okay. Now, if I add some water, the water will increase its transparency slightly. It becomes more fluid, obviously. So let me show you. So even though we're sort of adding more and more, it's not really covering more, it's staying pretty transparent. Okay. And adding water can be really effective, but adding too much water will actually break down the binder and weaken the colour pigment. And so if you want very watery colours with high pigment, then watercolour paint is designed to be watered down whilst retaining its colour. So if you wanted to do a high pigment watery wash, then watercolour is a great option. Okay, let me just dry that off. Now, another thing that we can do to increase the transparency is to add a medium, an acrylic medium. Now, this is a matte fluid medium. This is a matte medium. So matte medium is going to be more heavy bodied. Fluid is obviously going to be more fluid. Depends what we want. I've got also a flow enhancer here to increase the fluidity without taking out the colour pigment. So let me just show you. Let's add some matte fluid medium now to this paint, and you'll see that you get a beautiful transparent wash without the wateriness, so it's not going to pucker your paper, and even if you go over it several times with that wash, it's not really going to, you know, you're not going to get an opaque coverage. Okay, so with water, acrylic paint, really, it's happy to be watered down, but not really by more than, say, 50%. All right, so mediums, flow enhancers are designed to be added to acrylic paints and inks to retain that colour pigment and binder whilst giving you this more transparent effect. Okay, so I hope you found this video helpful when it comes to choosing your acrylic paints. Before I understood this, I used to wonder why I was getting through a ton of certain colours, like particularly yellows and pinks. I was getting through loads of those, and I didn't really understand why these paints weren't giving me the coverage that I was looking for. They weren't giving me that payoff, and that's because I didn't understand that these colours weren't actually designed to give me that opaque payoff. If you've enjoyed this topic and would like to create together with me and put topics like this to the test, then do check out my Art Insiders membership, which is full of resources, projects and inspiration, as well as offering a nourishing community of curious creatives. I really appreciate you spending your precious time with me. Take great care, and bye for now.